what parts of your identity are not serving you. They're outdated. They're holding you back. And then the second, deeper part of that question, when's the last time you actually looked into yourself to figure out what your identity is?
You got a 3.8, and it wasn't even that hard. I mean, I know it was hard. So if Amy's listening, like, yeah, I know it was challenging. But at the end of the day, we are all way more capable than we give ourselves credit. We really are.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 950, another milestone crossed. We talked all about vision boards and are they actually worth doing. Today, for episode number 951, how you look at yourself might be hurting you. So this is a morning recording for Alan and I. It's 9 a.m. as we're recording this, and we don't usually record this early. Alan rolled out of bed. I just got back from the gym a little while ago, so here we are. Our goal is to add value, and happy Sunday. I had a call the other day, Alan, and you know this because we gave away a coaching call at Next Level Live, and it was basically a raffle, and we pulled 4 winners, and they could pick whoever they wanted to do the free coaching call with. And I got on the phone with this person, and it was amazing. I'm so grateful. This person was so complimentative, and they said, I look up to you so much. This is a dream come true. And I said, hey, I appreciate all those words. Just remember, I'm just a regular human being. I have my own things going on, so I am nothing special. Please don't put me on a pedestal. Let's just have a real, authentic conversation, and my goal is to add value to you. And I said, okay, this is what I want you to do. Because it's been a while, Alan, since I've done I don't want to say an onboarding call, but a first call for kind of like mindset peak performance. I haven't done that in a long, long time. It's been many months.
Yeah,
many months. So I was like, all right, where should I go here? I have a lot of new understanding and new awareness. I said, I want to talk about identity. So I pulled up my Zoom screen. I did a screen share, and I started drawing some things because Alan always does that, and I've learned from that. And I said, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about identity because this is the thing. You were a person, and you always talk about that, right? When you and I are having this conversation, this is what I said to this person. I said, you're talking about who you used to be. Tell me that identity, okay? Then I want to get your identity for who you need to be in the future, to be the version of you that you're aspiring to be. And then the middle one, which can be very, very, very difficult. What is your identity right now? And we went through, and I said, really, really think about it. I want a list of things. Like I am statements, I was statements, I will be statements. And let's go through them. In the past, it was a very good exercise. It worked very well, and it's
fire.
It helped with going deep into conversation and deep into past things, and it was very good. It was one of my favorite calls I've ever had.
What were some of the things, just for context?
One of them was, so the overall for this person was not pouring into their own cup. So always taking care of other people at the detriment of themselves. And that was a past identity and a current identity.
Yep.
So that was an identity that has to shift in the future if you're going to be, I love service, but service that's not sustainable is martyrdom. It's just not, it's not going to work. 100%. That was one of them. Not confident, not a good speaker, not consistent. A lot of those things. And those were both the past and the present identity. Yeah. But this person wants to be a speaker, and this person wants to have a business. And so that was the thing was, and I did one of my favorite things, and I'll tell you in a second. So we had that conversation. We went through the past identity, the current identity, and what we need the future identity to look like. It was awesome. We talked about unlearning. We talked about a lot of other things. And I said, this is what I want you to do. And this is my favorite thing in the world. I said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much into the anxiety zone is it for you to take a video right now and post it to social media? So 0 is comfort zone, super easy. 5 is in the learning zone, right in the middle. And then 10 is anxiety zone. And she said 12. And I said, okay, how difficult would it be for you to record a video just to yourself and show nobody? And she said, I don't know, 1 or 2. I said, okay, what about sending one to me and me only? She said, that's probably like a 5 or 6. Perfect. Let's do that. My goal is to help her break her identity of I'm not a speaker. Nobody wants to see me speak. My message isn't valuable. She sent me a 7-minute video the next day. It was awesome. She did a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. But my goal for that entire call was to make her and help her realize that how she was looking at herself might have been hurting her. How she was looking at herself was hurting her. Her identity was not enough. It was lack. It was, I can't do this because, where in the future, your identity has to shift, but you got to become aware of it. I think a lot of us don't realize what our identities actually are. And this is the frame that I used for her. I said, I don't know if I said this on the podcast. I've said it on a bunch of other podcasts, but I said, I want you to think of this. When you were young, you were a seed and you were planted in soil, and that soil might have been toxic. And here you are, however many years later, and you're pouring this nutritious, high-quality soil on top of that toxic soil. But the nutrition is not getting down to the seed because we have to get rid of that other identity crap that just isn't real. It's learned, it's outdated, and it's not serving you. And it was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. I was very happy to have it, and I think this person had a lot of breakthroughs, which is always the goal. This is the question. What parts of your identity are not serving you? They're outdated. They're holding you back. And then the second, deeper part of that question, when's the last time you actually looked into yourself to figure out what your identity is? I think that's not a common conversation for most people, so maybe this episode will break something loose and you'll ask yourself a question that you may never have asked in the past.
There are so many studies that they've done with kids about self-concept, and that's what this idea is: identify, self-concept, identity. What do you identify with? What do you identify as? And your self-concept, in other words, the way you view yourself, dictates a lot of what you do and don't do, think and don't think, feel and don't feel, and believe and don't believe. And they've done so many studies with kids where they'll tell kids that they're in like a gifted class, and then they start acting more gifted. I remember it was 7th grade, Mr. Balunas. I've told the story before on the podcast. My mom went to a parent-teacher conference. He was my math teacher and Kevin's math teacher as well. Back in 7th grade, we were in the same grade, for those of you who are new listeners. And he said to my mom, like, what are you doing here? Like, you don't have to be here. Like, Alan's good. Don't worry about it. And she said, Mr. Balunas, I need to know if this gift is going to stick around. I just want to know, is this gift going to stick? And he said, yes, absolutely. And I'm just connecting these dots more lately because I've lately started leaning into what I believe is my genius zone. I believe every one of us has a genius zone. I think one of Kevin's is being able to communicate in a way that is relatable and making difficult concepts become applicable to people who didn't understand them before. So I think all of us have a genius zone. And it's interesting because back in 2012, before anyone was doing any sort of videos, you did a video that was live on Facebook that I actually saw on how you have to earn happiness. You don't deserve it by default, which is talking about entitlement. And so we all have a genius zone, but when it comes to self-concept, if you have a genius zone, and we all know that, you have something that you are better than Kevin and I at, 100%. And we know that for a fact. No matter who you are, no matter what you are, you have something that is unique about you that is different than Kevin and I. The problem is, if you don't identify as someone who has those gifts, you won't lean into them. So I was told, you are gifted at mathematics. And so I leaned into mathematics, which made me even more gifted. And still to this day, I have certain people in my life now that are trying to learn from those gifts, which is wonderful because they've created some awesome things. So I digress. I'm going to tell this quick little hypothetical. All right, so imagine that, and knock on wood here because I don't want this to happen, but imagine that Kevin were to get a brain injury where he would to lose all of his memory. He'd be in a coma. Okay, so let's say he lost all his long-term memory and short-term memory about himself. He lost his entire self-concept, and he's in a coma. And I'm there. This is hypothetical. I'm there. His mom's there. His Mima is there. His best friend Matt is there. Taryn is there. And he wakes up and he has no memory of who he is. Okay, hypothetical. And we tell him, hey, you are a world-class, successful podcaster that is heard in over 125 countries. You have 950 episodes. You are the CFO of a fast-scaling global company. You are an extraordinary speaker, podcaster, coach, and consultant. Okay? That version of Kevin who had no memory would be like, what? Cool. Oh, nice. Awesome.
Hi, my name is Bianca Thomas, and I am the co-founder and COO of Evolve Ventures. I have had the absolute gift and honor of knowing Kevin and Alan since the beginning of their journey, and I've seen their evolution, I've seen their growth, I've seen the men that they have become. And it is for that exact reason that I have invested so much time, so much energy, and so many resources into being in their orbit, having them as my mentors, as my coaches, and even doing group coaching. They are two of the most extraordinary human beings I've ever met, and they have made my life so much better. I was a fraction of the person that I was now beforehand, and having them in my orbit, having them as my coaches, having them as dear, dear friends, I truly believe is the reason that I am who I am and where I am today. So I hope that this gives you the message that you need, the trust and the belief that you need to take the chance on them. Because I guarantee if you allow them into your life, you are going to get better. Your life is going to get better, and you can achieve and do anything that you want if you have them in your corner. Kevin and Alan, I love you guys so much, and I will sing your praises any chance that I get. I love you guys. I hope this helps.
Now I want you to imagine a different scenario. Let's imagine that it wasn't Matt, Taryn, Mom, and Mima who know you now. Maybe it was all the people that knew you back then in high school. And they say, honestly, you're like jacked, you have tattoos, you work really hard, but you're not really that smart. You don't try that hard in school. You're kind of like funny, and you're kind of like a badass. And people are afraid of you. You're like a badass who's jacked, who people are afraid of you. You'd be like, oh, interesting. And my point here is simple. Your self-concept is dictating so much of your life. From when I was 14 years old, I identified as someone like Steve Jobs. Do you think that may or may not have shifted the way in which I behave? Of course, right? My beautiful girlfriend Emilia was watching the SpaceX documentary on Netflix last night. She identifies very closely with Elon in certain capacities. And it's like, what you identify as is dictating so much of your life. Just like in that scenario with Kevin with losing all of his memory and then being told you're a successful podcaster, you better believe he's going to walk a little different, talk a little different, act a little different, read a little different, do things differently. So the way you view yourself, that's really what I'm doing in coaching. And this is the hard thing because it's like not easy to sell this. But in coaching, what I'm doing with people is I'm getting them to see themselves differently. I'm getting them to see the world differently, and I'm helping them understand themselves and the world at a deeper level so that they can flourish within it. If you don't understand yourself and you don't understand how the world works, it's going to be very hard to be successful. And so on this episode, what we want everyone to be doing is, okay, what have you decided about yourself? Are you shy? Are you outgoing? Are you confident? Are you extraordinary or ordinary? Are you average or exceptional? Are you mediocre or excellent? Are you world class? Are you 1 in a million? Are you 1 in 10 million? Are you 1 in 100? Are you 1 in 1,000? Are you unique? Do you have a genius zone? Are you a genius? Do you consider yourself an intellectual? Do you consider yourself funny? Do you consider yourself in shape? Are you good looking or not? You have to figure these things out. I have one client who is beautiful, like gorgeous. Everyone else thinks she's gorgeous. And I remember talking to her, like, can you name 3 things about yourself that you love, like physically attractive wise? She couldn't name them. And I asked her the same question reversed. Give me 3 things that you don't like about your physical appearance. And she was rattling them off so quick. And now this person 3 years later has come around on this. And now she really does believe, like wholeheartedly, and I can tell that she's really good looking, which is good. All it is that toxic soil that Kevin was talking about. So just try to live in the truth, whatever that is, and look at the right evidence. I mean, Kev, I remember when we first met Amy, she's like, I can't go back to school. And you're like, well, list all the reasons why you can't. and then list all the reasons why you can, and then just throw out that first list and just only focus on the reasons you can. And that person, Amy, she went to school. She got her degree. She graduated with 3.8. She was on the dean's list. Of course she can. Like, that never clicked for me. It never will, I don't think. Like, obviously, Amy can go back to school, right? Like, you got a 3.8, and it wasn't even that hard. I mean, I know it was hard. So if Amy's listening, like, yeah, I know it was challenging. But at the end of the day, we are all way more capable than we give ourselves credit. We really are.
I think of it kind of like this, and I think this was my thought behind the exercise. And I don't know, I mean, this was years ago when I was talking to Amy about this. But for anybody out there, think of it this way. If you write a list of reasons you can't, and you write a list of reasons you can, the can is going to be logical, and I think the can't will be emotional. These are the reasons I don't think I can do it. I don't feel I can do it because of these reasons. And then the second list will probably be, well, I think I can because of these reasons. And I really believe it just filters out the stuff that isn't real.
That's fire right there. That's really, really powerful distinction.
These 9 a.m.s, Alan, I think maybe this is the play. You know what I mean? You and I meet 9 a.m. every day. What do you think, man?
Hey, be careful. No, so typically, just to give some backstory, I don't usually do my first front-facing thing until 10 a.m. So this is new. I've got a speech that I'm doing later. But yeah, so the first third of my day is for me, second third for service, third for fitness, food, and family. And so Kev is trying to get me to lower my standards.
Today, your first third is for Jeff. Jeff and Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything in closing? You had something you were going to say before I interrupt you?
I think that what Kevin and I want to do is not just have you listen to a podcast and hear us talk and hear these stories. What we really want you to do is see yourself differently, or learn something about yourself, or unlearn something about yourself, or learn something about the world, or unlearn something about the world. And try to be more accurate in your thinking of self. So how would Kevin view you? Let's say you jumped on the phone with Kev and you said, I am shy, or I can't be a speaker, or I have this dream and I can't do it. He's just going to tell you, like, of course you can. And you're going to be like, well, how do you know that? And he's going to be like, I didn't think I could either. And I was just like you. I didn't think I could do it either, and I was wrong. And so, like, I remember when Kevin's saying, like, I'm not a speaker, it's like, well, you could be. Of course you could be. And one day when Kevin's in a stadium and he's a world-class speaker, it will be because of 10 years prior. I was like, of course you could. What do you mean? You're already on the stronger end of that skill, right? So at the end of the day, there's very little that you can't do in reality, but you might not believe in yourself enough. And so just try a little bit to, like, believe in yourself more and unlayer whatever this identity is. Where did that come from? When did you decide you were shy? When did you decide these disempowering things about yourself? Because they're just not true. They're just not.
There's a huge difference between not being humanly able to do something and just not knowing how to do it yet.
Right.
And I think that meshes for a lot of people. I know it did for me. It was
that should be an episode at some point too.
Yeah, we can do that. Next Level Nation, if you are listening to this, we are still in April. As you know, we are doing a giveaway for the month of April. If you leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you use, you can click the link in the show notes. It'll take you to the one that you use. Just leave us a review, screenshot it, send it to Alan or myself. You can send it in Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, email, wherever is the best for you. We will see it, and we will enter you into a drawing to win a $100 Amazon gift card at the end of the month or the beginning of May, depending on how we do it. But we have a bunch of people who have done it. We are appreciative. We're grateful, because when you go to Amazon, the first thing you do, if you're going to buy anything, right, you're going to buy AirPods, you look at the reviews. And if the reviews are good, you're more likely to purchase it and stick with it. And podcasts are the same. We want to help more people just like you, and you can help us do that. So we are grateful for you.
Most of our listeners are not on YouTube, so I'm going to narrate. I'm holding up a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I'm holding up a book called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. I'm holding up a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. 3 of the best books ever written right there. And these are 3 books that we have read and combed through every single chapter intricately in Book Club. So Book Club is session 58 next week. So 58 weeks in a row we've done Book Club. There's a bunch of people all over the world in there, different cultures, different backgrounds, different countries. We've got Australia represented. We've got a whole bunch of different countries. So if you want to get together with a group of people who are excited to learn as much as you are, and you want to talk vulnerably behind the scenes privately about some of these challenges that all human beings face, no matter where they're from, with a diverse group of people, Book Club is for you. Please reach out. You can DM me. There's also going to be a link in the show notes where you can register to our next book club. It is every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Next Level Book Club is truly next level.
Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 852, we are talking about the easy choice versus the right choice. We did an episode about that, I don't know, 700, 800 episodes ago. So I'm excited to revisit that with a new perspective. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.